We're just sitting in, ladies and gentlemen, some very last-minute practice with Paul Pinfold, who's been besieged with some really dire electrical problems. A nice introduction to him from Coventry, now lives out in Brisbane. His passenger tonight is Sandra, over from the Netherlands. Fingers crossed for the break, we say. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're just about ready. A very warm welcome to Brandon here, the home of the Coventry Bees. And tonight, of course, if you're looking to see 1000cc's and 500c motorbikes with grown men and a couple of ladies hanging on for dear life, you're in the right place. Thanks very much for coming. And in Heat 1, plenty of local interest with Lloyd and Fraser Sutherland from just down the road at Martin. We've got Charlie, Ridley and Harry McGuirk coming out in yellow and black. Hopefully we're going to see Paul Pinfold working furiously in the pits with his partner over from the Netherlands, Sandra, Mollema. And if anyone wants to just exercise their lungs a little bit, just getting down here, 4 times British Masters champion with his partner Blyth, it's rugby's Mark Cossar. And the 2-minute warning is on now for all 4 riders. 2 minutes. So just while we have a pause with some programme changes, just to let you know that our reserves rumble won't be taking place tonight because a couple of the reserves are going to be promoted into the main meeting. So that still means we've got plenty of races for you. Looking forward to seeing those 500s later on. Brilliant here last time in the Sidecar shootout. Way back in 1998, won the British Sidecar Speedway track, Speedway Championship right here on this track. So here we go then, Heat 1, Pete Lloyd on the inside in red, Mark Cossar blue, Paul Pinfold in white, Charlie Ridley in yellow. Well, good to see Charlie Ridley there and McGuirk straight back up on their feet. It's a dangerous sport, this. And we will have a rerun with just the 3 riders with Charlie Ridley and Harry McGuirk excluded from heat number 1. warning for the remaining 3 riders. 2 minutes. So here's the restart then for heat number 1. Great tussle first time out with Lloyd getting away quickly. Let's see if he can do it here again against Mark Cossar. But it's Lloyd leading the way here against Mark Cossar. For Paul Pinfold and the crash obviously for Ridley, and officially the rider in red also excluded Lloyd for leaving the track coming onto the infield. So just the one finisher there, and it's a win in blue for Mark Cossar and Blyth. And Mark's winning time 68.01. 68.01. 2 minute walking on now for heat number 2, and we're as per programme with Mogg, Cutler coming out in red. Way over from Essex, Shaun and Harvey coming out with Hogg in blue. Mick, Stace and Heath in white, and Robbie Wilson and Bradley Steer in yellow. Well, pretty eventful heat number 1 to say the least. Let's see what's going to happen here in heat 2 with the thousands. Once again, Mogg and Cutler in red on the inside, Shaun Harvey and Hogg in blue, Mick, Stace, Heath in white, and Robbie Wilson, Bradley Steer in yellow. Shaun Harvey leading the way already. It's a Titanic strike from Gareth Williams. He says that he contention in white. And Shaun Harvey's a multi-champion, but normally on the 500, but here he is leading in the thousands. Let's see what Robbie Wilson can do. in Heat 2 there. Enjoyed that one. The race winner in blue was Shaun Harvey. Chasing him very hard all the way in yellow was Robbie Wilson. And third in white, Mick Stace. Winning time there for Shaun was 69.41. So as you may have gathered, if you've not been to anything like this before, you get 3 points for a win, 2 for second, 1 for third, nothing at all, I'm afraid, for a last place. Terry Madley, sorry, as passenger, and Phillip Wynn. Phillip Wynn and Terry Madley riding here in blue. We've got the former British Masters champion, Paul Whitelam, with Kieran, or Kizz as he likes to be called, in white. Rob Wilson, Terry Saunders in yellow, and in red from rugby, it's Mark Cossar this time with Wayne Rickards. The result there of heat number 3, and certainly watch out for him. He was in the final here at the shootout in August. The winner, Paul Whitelam, and the fastest time so far tonight, Paul's time 67.40. Coming through into second place in yellow there was Rob Wilson with Terry Saunders, and in third place in red, Tom Cossar and Wayne Rickards. Paul Whitelam's winning time again, 67.4. I'd like to thank some of our sponsors for this evening. This race is being sponsored by the Andy Meredith Speedway Academy. Heat number 3 was sponsored by Skipton Car Radio. Tris Winterberg Racing sponsoring heat number 2, and Frank Dean Plant did heat number 1. Thanks very much for that. And here we go then with heat number 4. Seth Blyth and Jordan Smith riding in red. Matt Fumarola and rugby's Gareth Williams in blue. Tris Winterberg from there in Skipton with Henry Purcell in white. Trevor Heath and Kieran Bonner from all the way from Newcastle here in yellow. Heat number 4. Good start for Tris Winterberg. Trevor Heath and Kieran Bonner now on the way at the back. Well, heat number 4 there, an excellent start for the winner in white, Tris Winterburn, with his passenger Henry Purcell, and their winning time 68.33. Second in blue, Matt Fumarola and Gareth Williams, they pick up 2 points, and third in red, Steph Blyth and Jordan Smith. Winning time again for Tris was 68.33. So it's just 3 starters here in this round robin competition. In red it's Barry Bennett and Ivy and Hughes, Dave Carville and Richard Phillip in blue, and Mitch Godden and Paul Smith in white. So to sort the points for that, just the three riders for this first heat of the 500cc. Now, plenty of fun with the 500s last time. Let's see what they can serve up here in heat number 1. Taste there of the 500s, and it was a win in white for Mitch Godden. Mitch's winning time 71.5. Second in red, Barry Bennett, and third in blue, Dave Carville. Winner's time again 71.5. Well, pretty lively heat number 9 there, and it was a win in blue for Tris Winterburn and Henry Purcell. Winning time for Tris was 68.08. Second in white, a couple more good points for Lloyd and Fraser Sutherland. And in third it was your reserve pairing of Phillip Wynn and Terry Madley. Just to confirm now that the crew out in red, Mick, Stace and Sandra were excluded for leaving the track. Band up there. Winning time again for Tris Winterburn, 68.08. And there's the swimming warning for heat number 10, which was very interesting. Just that one change to your programme. In red, Rob Wilson's passenger again is Liam Brown. Rob and Liam with 4 points so far. Joe Mogg and Jake Cutler coming out in blue with a point on the board. Steph Blyth and Jordan Smith 3 points so far there in white. And unbeaten. Is anyone on this straight at all cheering for Mark Cossar? Mark Cossar from Rugby with his traditional grass track passenger the whole glide, 6 points. A couple of other crews unbeaten as well, so plenty of competition to try and get into this final. Rugby's Mark Cossar. His winning time 67.06. Second in red was Rob Wilson with the brown, 2 points for them. And third in blue, Joe Moore and Jake Cutler. Mark's winning time again for heat 10, 67.06 for heat number 11. And this is going to bring out Robbie Wilson and Bradley Steer. They've got 5 points so far in red. Paul Whitelam and Kizz Ivy in blue, 6 points, unbeaten so far. Paul Pinfold and Sandra Mollema, so much bad luck, they surely can't have more here in white. Paul originally from the Coventry area, now a resident out here in Brisbane in Australia, and Sandra over here from the Netherlands. And local interest too in yellow with Fumarola from Birmingham and Rugby's very own Gareth Williams. They've got 3 points on the board. So a chance in that last chance qualifier well within their reach at the moment. 11 coming right up. Whitelam in second place, unbeaten before this race time. Robbie was on the outside, he went, but Whitelam's not giving up. Last lap, what's it going to be? Tremendous racing there, folks. Do put your hands together again. A brilliant win as he remains unbeaten for Whitelam. And certainly playing his part there in red, Robbie Wilson. Win time for Paul was 69.06. 3 points to Paul. He moves on to unbeaten maximum of 9. 2 points in red there, Robbie Wilson and Bradley Steer in second, and Matt Fumarola and Gareth Williams in third, 1 point for them. Winners time again, 69.06, and sympathies again to Robbie. In red we have Trevor, Heath and Kieran Bonham from Newcastle yet to score. Charlie Ridley, Harry McGuirk riding in blue. And the crew just coming round here in white to the main stand. They really need your support. Just 1 point on the board so far. Give them a cheer, please, for Mark Cossar and Wayne Rickards. And completing the lineup in yellow and black, Shaun, Harvey and then Hogg, unbeaten on 6. So here we go, team number 12. Number 12, and another man making it 3 out of 3. The winner in yellow, Shaun Harvey with Danny Hogg. Shaun winning time 70.06. 70.06. Coming through there in white, keeping his chances alive, rugby's Mark Cossar. And third in red, picking up there for first points, Trevor Heath and Kieran Bonham. Winners time again, 70.06. So 2 minutes on for heat number 3, just turning the page into our 500s. And that programme change for you with Gary Southgate partnering his daughter Kira in white. Mitch Goddard, the race winner first time out in red. 3 points with his passenger Paul Smith. The Bale brothers Aaron and Stephen are in blue. And completing the lineup in yellow for Wales, it's Barry Bennett and Ivan Hughes riding their GM. So our first 500 race with 4 riders. If you're Speedway fans, most of these engines you've been familiar with Jamas and predominantly GMs. Competition going to hop up here with Mitch with already 3 points to his name riding in red. The Southgates in white picked up 2 points first time out, as did Barry Bennett in yellow. And the Vales in white, let's see if they can do better this time in blue. Heat number 3 of the 500s. In the 500s, second win of the evening for Mitch Goddard with Paul Smith, winning time 70.56. Chasing hard there in yellow, Barry Bennett, 2 points for him with Ivan Hughes, and it was Gary Southgate and Kira Southgate in third, 1 point for them. Winner's time 70.56. A little bit of track grading now before we return to the 1000s. Thanks very much again for joining us. Not often we see the boys on with the sidecars on speedway tracks these days, predominantly grass of course, and some of the lads here riding their grass track bikes, which are not 100% conducive to our shale conditions, but really giving it their all. So thanks very much for coming on tonight, folks. Okay folks, 2 minutes is on for all 4 crews in what looks like going to be a very exciting heat number 13. We have Shaun Harvey coming out in red, 9 points, unbeaten. Rob Wilson, very much in contention with his party or programme change, Liam Brown in blue on 6 points. And the battle here of the 2 crews, both currently on 4 points, and really looking to try and get into that last chance event a little bit later on. Fumarola in white and Lloyd in yellow, both on 4 points. So it's all to play for here in heat number 13. Shaun Harvey, superb move by Rob Wilson to come down the inside there. Well, excellent. Heat 13. Put your hands together, folks. Sort of brilliant race win by the rider in blue there, Rob Wilson with Liam Brown. And Rob's winning time there, 69.18. Second in red, losing his unbeaten run, but still very much in the competition, Shaun Harvey and Danny Hogg. And third in white, Matt Fumarola and Rugby's Gareth Williams picking up a point there in white. Winner's time again, 69.18. So there's just that one change to your programme here, the reserves coming out in yellow. Gareth Williams and Ash Williams taking their place in yellow. In blue, we have Trevor Heath and Kieran Bonner, 1 point on the board so far. Robbie Wilson and Bradley Steer in white on 7, and unbeaten on the inside in red with Blyth, we have Mark Cossar. Well, heading all the way to the final there in red with another win, Mark Cossar and Blyth. Mark's winning time 67.05. Second in white, Robbie Wilson and Bradley Steer. And third, in yellow our reserve pairing Gareth Williams. Winning time again for Mark, 67.05. So on to 15, and Tyler and Luck has run out for Paul Pinfold. So his place is going to be taken with this one in blue by our reserve pairing, Phillip, Wynn and Terry Madley, bringing out that BMW. They'll be riding here in blue. And again, plenty to go for here with Joe Mogg in yellow on 2 points so far. Tris Winterman on the inside in red on 6 points. And maybe last gasp here in white with Wayne Rickards, Mark Cossar. P15 coming right up. Well, P15 there, and it's another win for the rider in red. Tris Winterberg with his passenger Henry Purcell. Winning time for Tris, 69.16. Good second there in white for Tom Cossar. And third in yellow was Joe Mogg. And the winning time again for P15, 69.16. And there's a 2-minute warning for all 4 riders in Heat 16, the last of our 1000cc sidecar heats. So here we go then for heat number 16, starting with yellow, Blyth with Jordan Smith on 3 points so far. Ridley, Harry McGuirk in white on 1 point. Mick, Stace and Heath in blue on 3 points. And on the inside, still unbeaten tonight for British Masters Grass Track Champion, finalist here last time in the sidecar shootout in August, with his passenger Kizz Ivy. It's for Whitelam in red. Here we go then, heat number 16. 16 there, and a win in red for Whitelam and Kizz Ivy. Paul's winning time, 69.03. Second in yellow, Steph White and Jordan Smith. And third in white, Charlie Ridley and Harry McGuirk. And this really is building up to a proper grandstand finish, as I'm sure you're aware now, we're going to have 3 unbeaten crews already in that grand final coming up quite shortly. Winning time again for Paul Whitelam there in Heat 16, 69.03. So here we go then folks for the fourth heat of the 500s. Aaron Bale and Stephen Bale riding in red, Scott Dunn and Scott Goodwin in blue, Barry Bennett and Ivy Hughes in white, and David Darwell and Richard Fumarola in yellow. Still all to play for in these 500s. It will become a little bit clearer after this heat and the next one. The overall points winner. It's heat number 4. And already that's the 2-minute warning for the restart of heat number 4, an unsatisfactory start there. But that was heat number 4 of the 500s there, and we in blue for Scott Dunn and Scott Goodwin. And the fastest time in the 500 so far, winning time now, 69.98. Second in white was Barry Bennett. And third, the man originally from Coventry, Dave Carville in yellow. Winning time again for Scott Dunn, 69.98. Here we go then for Heat 5. That same programme change we've had throughout with in red, with Gary Southgate partnering his daughter here, Kira. McGuirk coming out in blue, unbeaten so far with his 2 race wins. Dave Carville coming out in white and leading the line-up in yellow, Scott Dunn. Well, that's a shame. It looks like just 3 riders for this heat number 5. With Dave Carville's bike getting on the goes there. So, heat number 5 there of the 500s and a win in yellow, continuing his unbeaten run, Scott Dunn there with a winning time of 70.5. Second in blue was Mitch Cullen and third in red was Gary Southgate. Okay, if you're anywhere other than not looking at the track, come and look at the track right now, because this is the semi-final and this actually is a winner-take-all in itself, with only the winner going through to the grand final. Riding in red, Tris Winterburn. In blue, Robbie Wilson. In white, Rob Wilson. And on the outside, anyone cheering for Tom Cossar? Winner to the final, here we go, it's the semi. Tris Winterburn almost there, and it's Rob Wilson around the outside. Remember, this is Sandra and Shaun up front. Tris Winterburn in third, Robbie Wilson second, it's Rob Wilson leading, looking on for the final. couple of the Wilsons there, but coming out on top and taking his place in the final in white there is Rob Wilson. And winning time for Rob, 68.1 second. 68.16, apologies. 68.16. Second in blue, chasing Harvey, son there, Robbie Wilson. And third place, it was Tris Winterburn. So you can now transfer Rob Wilson over into our grand final where he'll ride in yellow. Winning time again, 68.16. Well, now let's concentrate on this additional race, our 500 final. Scott Dunn and Scott Goodwin. Scott from over there in Norfolk, right in the Java. Passenger Scott Goodwin. Mick Scotland, Paul Smith coming out in blue. Barry Bennett and Ivan Hughes from Wales in white. And father and daughter partnership in yellow. Gary Southgate with Kira Southgate in yellow. So let's give them a cheer as they come round to the line. They're giving us some good entertainment in these 500s. And this is a winner-take-all final. Let's give them a big cheer as they come round, folks. The winners of our 500 final, Scott Dunn and Scott Goodwin. Second place, Mick Scotland and Paul Smith. They've been great tonight in the 500s. Third, Barry Bennett and Ivy and Hughes. And not forgetting Gary Southgate and Kira Southgate. Winning time for Scott Dunn there was 70.75. Thanks very much to the 500s. And don't go away because we have a very exciting final coming up with the 1000s. Mark Cossar in red, Paul Whitelam in blue, Shaun Harvey in white and Rob Wilson in yellow. And just before we get underway, our referee tonight, Chris Turno, would like to say a special thank you to all riders and passengers for their cooperation tonight and quick turnarounds in the pits. Not always easy with those hot bikes, so a big thank you from Chris to all riders and passengers. Well done. So it's a little bit quiet out there, Brandon. Who are you cheering for? In yellow then here for this grand final, Rob Wilson. Shaun Harvey in white, Paul Whitelam in blue, and on the inside in red, Blyth with rugby's Mark Cossar. Something obviously going to give here with the two unbeaten crews, Paul Whitelam unbeaten, Mark Cossar unbeaten, Shaun Harvey clap one defeat, Rob Wilson very much going to take on the second place, battling his way through to the final, Rob Wilson. But your winners, folks, put your hands together again. Blyth with Mark Cossar. Let's just move on with the trophies. And like I said, these trophies, it's a close look at these fantastic machines. So third place, brilliant performance. They threw us in the shootout back in August and did a great tonight as well. So third place, we had together Paul Whitelam and Kizz Ivy. And being presented their prizes there by Fraser from the ACU. Also joining the presentation, Dave Rowe. Sure, the video voice from McGuirk called the Great Gold Contest on the Speedway. And runs up, buses themselves into the final in fine style. So let's give a cheer then please for Rob Wilson and Neil Brown. Leading on the English podium, last time Mark Cossar of course, Rob Cossar, British Artist Craft, excellent effort to get into the final. Slick tonight, that was good. Good race, that was good try, and then our winners. Nice to see you back after getting married last time, which is a racing meeting. Blyth and living Mark Cossar.
I can't quite see it happening. I think that's why these guys allow alcohol here in these cycles. So there's the top three, great six. Let's give them away, they might way back. Well done, lads, 3 of the boys. Thanks to you for our 500.